I'm glad that with the passing of apartheid criminal F.W. de Klerk, the issue of our bastardized hybrid national anthem and the inclusion of those verses from the stem has once again come to the fore. I think it is well known that this idea of a combination of Nkosi Sikelel' Africa and the stem was the brainchild of President Nelson Mandela. Let me share my experience that I had with regards to this idea when President Mandela brought the concept to the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress when I was still a member of the NEC. President Mandela presented this version as done by Professor Khumalo with great excitement to the National Executive of the African National Congress. And while it was played, I looked around at the expressions on the faces of many of the members of the NEC. There were some confusion, mixed reactions, obviously the usual suspects, among them our now current president, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, were happy with it. But there were also those like Comrade Tony Ngeni, Comrade Ace Magashule, Harry Gwala and others who were absolutely flabbergasted and disgusted. After the anthem had been played, I asked for the opportunity to speak. And I told my own personal experience. I shared with the National Executive Committee what happened with me when I was in detention together with my then fiancée and my later first wife, Yancy Lawrence. We were terribly tortured. Yancy was kept awake for over a week. She was stripped naked, made to stand on bricks with her bare feet. One can just imagine the kind of pain and cramps that eventually led to. While she was in this agony, the security police and one officer, Nick Deetliffs, who later on, also now in the inquest into the death of Comrade Neil Agate, featured as having played a central role in the manner that Comrade Agate was tortured, was also the main torturer in our case. They made Yancy to sing Die Stem while she was in this agony, crying in agony, singing in fear, but also in exhaustion. They recorded that version of Yancy singing Die Stem. And then during my interrogation sessions, they played that horrible singing of the stem, that painful singing of the stem of this young tortured woman back to me and said, "You better talk, listen to what is happening to your loved one." Now that is my experience. An experience which is indelibly ingrained into my mind. And I asked President Mandela and the members of the National Executive Committee, do you really want that anthem which was abused in this way in my instance, and I know in many other comrades who have been detained instances too, to become part of what the expression is of our new nation? Do you want to put us through the agony of every time having to relive those memories when this anthem is sung? Do you actually expect from us to sing Die Stem as part of our national anthem? While I was speaking, I could see that there was a ripple of reaction amongst the members of the National Executive Committee. They were beginning to change their minds. I sensed that Madiba also realized this. And suddenly he said, "Well, comrades, I think it's time for tea." So he adjourned the NEC. As we were walking out of the meeting, he called me. "My boy." He always called me my boy. "Come here." He gave me a very stern look. He said to me, "You of all people should know what I'm trying to achieve with creating this anthem and this combination, including Distem. Now, when we come back from tea, I do not want to hear a word from you." I had very little option. Madiba's authority within the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress at that stage was unassailable. So when we came back, I kept quiet. And the force of Madiba's personality drove the decision through the National Executive Committee that we will have this bastardized anthem. But personally, I have never accepted it. And whenever I have to sing this anthem, I will stand with my fist clenched during the part where we sing Nkosi Sikelele Africa. But as soon as Distem comes, I will drop my fist and I will stop singing. Of course, this doesn't mean that it doesn't recall every time that terrible memory. It just means that I register my own personal disgust at it and my own personal protest. Now that this issue has come to the fore again, I want to make a call that we need to revisit that ill-conceived decision. We need to remove the clauses of that racist apartheid anthem from our national anthem. What we need is simply to sing Nkosi Sikelele Africa in all its various versions, representative of the various languages of our country, but can't be that we have a racist anthem included in our national anthem. The conduct of the white community and the majority of the white community in this country that have not shown an understanding of the terrible pain and the terrible harm that apartheid had inflicted on our society and the majority of Black and especially African people. The continuing way in which this white community idealize the apartheid era, do not show any contrition for apartheid, are not prepared to accept that there must be restitution. The manner in which one of their main representatives, F.W. de Klerk, continued to do his best to try and defend apartheid. In 2020, during that SABC interview, still insisting that apartheid was not a crime against humanity. And in his last video message, with his one foot literally in the grave, still not being able to just say simply, unconditionally, apartheid was wrong, but only trying to apologize for the painful effects that apartheid had. All of these things show that the white community does not deserve this kind of outreach and this compromise, also with regards to our national anthem. So as far as the current period of mourning that President Cyril Ramaphosa had announced for apartheid criminal, that devil F.W. de Klerk, I will not mourn de Klerk. I do not accept that our national flag, which is also my national flag, should hang half-mast for that man who inflicted so much harm, so much pain on our people. And most certainly, we have to take the clauses of the apartheid anthem distem out of our national anthem. I've made a personal decision that my protest, which I've kept low-key and quiet until now about the inclusion of the stem into our national anthem, has to become more visible and more challenging. In future, wherever I am, and we reach the point where that apartheid anthem is being sung, where those clauses from the apartheid anthem is sung as part of our national anthem, I'm going to sit down. I call on all other conscientious South Africans who cannot stomach this aberration to do the same. The time had come that we now execute our right as South Africans to insist on a society that will not harbor racism, that will not make compromises that allow the racist white community to continue to believe that they can continue with their racist and supremacist attitudes. So let's remove the stem from our national anthem. And until it happens, let's make our disgust with it and our protest against it visible and clear. Thank you.